What's up, chat? How everyone is doing today on this lovely Sunday? Welcome again to another live stream. Today will be a little bit more quiet than usual. We have actually a little bit of open source work to do, you know. I want you guys to see how exactly I develop a few things on the open source side. So yeah, that will be the goal today. We actually have two goals in mind today. So the first one is check if we have any outdated dependency for past PHP. That's the first goal of today. The second goal will be develop the option -- coverage -- exactly at something for past PHP. And I will explain you in a second why we are developing this for past PHP. It actually came out as a need for Laravel Cloud, and I want to show you that. But first, I wanted to adjust with you guys the alert box, because last time people on the video said that each time someone followed me, the noise was a little bit too, you know, right in the center of the screen, and also a little bit too loud. So we are going to address that real quick. We are going to put some music here, and some good one as well. I want to go for some hip-hop again today. There we go. Welcome everyone to the stream. I really appreciate all the feedback last stream had. Literally, I felt like that the last stream was totally amazing. The content was good. I felt that we talked about a very interesting topic, which is how to organize Laravel apps. But also, at the same time, I felt like the chat was literally interacting with me all the time. And that was a lot of fun. I must say, that was a lot of fun. Just literally, developing a Laravel application and just being able to speak with you all at the same time was so much fun. Literally, so much fun. That being said, regarding yesterday's stream, I started to compile some of the highlights and actually put them, on my YouTube channel. So if you are on Twitch, check my YouTube channel, because I'm literally compiling all the highlights and just put them on my YouTube channel. And if you are following me on my YouTube, check my Twitch, because literally, the overall live stream experience there just feels better. So I have literally those two platforms and just having fun with them. All right, let's check the chat here today. Josh is saying, your stream yesterday made me go through the project and add PHP stand on strict. Well, I guess that's a good sign, don't you think? I think that's a good sign that you got motivated and, and you saw some of the things I was using and you decided to explore them a little bit. So that's a good thing. Abdullah is saying, please talk about modules in Laravel. Well, today it's not the topic. I actually need to do some open source work on past PHP, so I will be working on that. You are welcome to stay if you want to. Josh is saying, well done on Twitch affiliate. Yeah, man, to be honest, that was thanks to you all, because you guys are literally, following me on Twitch, and that basically unlocked the Twitch affiliates thing, So to be a Twitch affiliate, basically you need to have a couple of requisites, You need to have at least X amount of followers, you need to have at least an average of followers as well per stream. You need to stream at least 7 times. You need to have, those 7 times needs to be in the same 10 days timestamp. So, that was thanks to you all. So thank you so much for that. Duca 10 is saying, hi Nuno, I'm sorry to be asking this a little bit out of context, but I noticed on Pinkery, use controllers to redirect to a given view and then use Livewire components on that view. Why not to use full page components to use on those routes? In particular, any particular reason? I can't remember, dude. I think it has to be, or is related to some sort of layout thing on Livewire. So basically I kind of want to reuse the same layout while navigating through Livewire components, and I feel it has to be because of that. I can't remember, man. I've developed Pinkery so many long time ago that I can't remember, man, you know. Alright, so today's stream will be again checking if we have any outdated dependency for past PHP, and I also want to develop a new feature for past PHP, which is the option -- coverage, exactly at value. So I'm going to tell you what's the problem with the current implementation of coverage. And I saw this on Laravel Cloud, which is on Laravel Cloud we have this, you know, our composer test will basically execute this vendor bin past. And we provide this, you know, -- parallel, all the cool stuff, but we also do this coverage at, last time I checked, I think is 88.7%, okay? So what is the problem with this -- minimum as at 98.7%? The problem is the following. If Nuno, let's say, if Joe, for example, develop a feature that increases the task coverage to 99.1%, let's say, okay? And just after this, Nuno develops a feature which decreases the task coverage to 98.7 again, or let's say 98.8%, we will never notice, because the minimum requirement is always 98.7. You know what I mean? Do you guys understand this problem? The problem is that if we use -- minimum to a given percentage, and then someone develops a feature which, you know, increases the test coverage, which is a good thing, to a higher number, if we have someone else which just after develop a feature which decreases the test coverage, we will never notice, you know? So my goal today is develop some sort of coverage exactly at, and you provide the value. If your new feature, like Joe for example, increases the test coverage a little bit, his pull request will be basically changing this little configuration to 91.1%. And then Nuno will develop, you know, a new feature which will obviously decrease the test coverage, and the test suite won't pass because the test coverage is not exactly at that given number. So what do you guys think about this? I had this idea literally during the week, and I thought that I would develop that, you know, during the weekend. So I want to ask you, what do you think about this? Just tell me that on the chat. Tinway is saying, thank you for pushing all the code of the To-Do app. Yeah, last stream, you know, people were requesting me to literally just push the code I have developed during the stream. So that's basically on my own profile. You go to Nuno Maduro on GitHub, and it's literally, I think, one of the recent repos that I have interacted with. It's called Streams To-Do app, okay? And you can literally see everything I have done regarding actions, regarding PHP stand, regarding Pint, you know, all the things I like to do when I start a new Laravel application, like removing the abstract controller, you know, prepare all my structure. So if you like those sort of things, please check the To-Do app I have developed. Is literally on my own GitHub profile, and you will see how exactly, you know, I like to code my actions and things like that. I already published a video on my YouTube channel where I, you know, talk a little bit about what was it, the topic today? I even forgot right now. What was on my YouTube today? I literally forgot. Let me double check. Because I actually prepared a couple of videos, and some of them are literally for members only so far. Yeah, so today I've published on my YouTube the 5 must-haves on my Laravel app service provider, and tomorrow I will publish a video talking about Laravel actions, okay? So today we got this video out, 5 must-haves in my Laravel app service provider, so check my YouTube channel, is literally there. And tomorrow, around 1 p.m. UTC time, I will publish another video where the title is Laravel Actions, the Secret Sauce. And I will basically tell you how exactly I like to structure, my Laravel Actions, which was also part of my live 2 days ago. So I hope you guys are appreciating this, these highlights I'm publishing on my YouTube channel. Dukaten is saying you are basically increasing the minimum. Well, it's a little bit different. It's more about truly controlling the coverage level I have on my app. Again, if someone comes here and just says the minimum is, for example, 90%, it doesn't really matter if people increase the coverage, because later on, a new pull request can literally decrease the test coverage and we will never notice. If we have something like exactly with a precise value that the coverage obeys to, if you develop a feature, in order to have the test suite passing, you will need to literally increase this number on the Composer test scripts. Same goes with Nuno. Nuno will never decrease the coverage because the coverage is literally always on a higher number, basically, So I want to do this today. Before that, I need to check if past has outdated dependencies. I don't know how many of you know, but literally on my composer.json, I'm not using currently any PHPUnit version. I'm literally pointing to a given PHPUnit version. So what I use for that, if I'm not mistaken, let me double check here. I think I use the conflicts key. There we go. Exactly. So what I do is that I say that I do support this given PHPUnit version, and I don't support any other one higher than that. So basically, I'm saying that I support only this PHPUnit version. The reason is because past PHP relies so much on the internals of PHPUnit that I kind of have to pinpoint to a given PHPUnit version. You know what I mean? So today, I'm going to run a very important command that you might learn about this, okay? This is a very important thing. So in your Laravel applications, if you want to see that you are, I'm going to restart here. So I'm going to give you a very important command. And this command allows you to see if you have any outdated dependency. So the only thing you have to do is go to your Composer terminal and type Composer outdated. So this is something that comes, by default with Composer, and literally tells you if you have any dependency in your vendor directory which is outdated. And as you can see, currently, I'm actually having 2 dependencies that are outdated on this past project. One is PHPUnit, which literally just, released a new minor version. So this should be technically, a very easy upgrade. And we also have PHP Stan. So I want to update past framework, at least the core, to PHP Stan 2 yet, because I haven't checked yet PHP Stan 2. I know there is a couple of differences regarding the configuration file and also, how people write type annotation. So, I want to leave that to his own special task. And today, the only goal will be basically updating PHPUnit internally. So the only thing I have to do, really, because I have a huge test suite on past PHP, is literally coming here and type this. So bump the version that we support on PHPUnit, and at the same time deprecate kind of the previous version. So I'm saying now that once I tag this past version will be only, compatible with this given version of PHPUnit. So now if I go to past my terminal here and I type Composer update, I should get the latest version of PHPUnit, which I do, and I should be able to run my test suite to see how it goes. So I'm going to type bin past. What do I want to do? Yeah, I want to run without the integration test suite because it's quite heavy, in parallel with 3 processes and stop on failure. So let's run this to see how it goes. And we have a failure already, so let's double check. Oh, interesting. So we are actually within the past framework overriding some of the internals of PHPUnit. For example, this GUnit XML stuff, we literally override the class because it's internal, it's final, and I cannot literally hook into this class. So it's literally what my past test suite is saying is that some of the files you are overriding actually change its content. So to address this issue, the only thing I have to do is go to my versions test and literally just acknowledge that we do have some changes here. So this one now should be this given content. I typically don't check the content because if the test suite is passing, I should be chilling, you know what I mean? All right, let's check some questions here. Dukaten is saying, about the video, why are you using model unguard? Isn't that dangerous somehow? I thought about using it too, but I was afraid of security issues on mass assignment. Yeah, if you are afraid of security issues on mass assignment, you should literally just, use the guarded stuff. I kind of trust in my own capacities coding, so I don't need the guarded stuff. I just feel it slows down me a little bit, so I want to move fast, and unguarded literally just works for me. Okay, now once we updated this hash of that given file, we have a test suite passing of PassPHP, and you know what? We have literally more than 1,000 unit tests on PassPHP, and this doesn't count the integration test suite. So now, if I want to run the entire thing, I think I should be able to literally just remove this exclude group integration and just run the entire thing in parallel with 3 processes. And this should also run the integration test suite, which, hopefully everything is just passing. Oh, it's failing, so we do have to check this. Twinny is asking, what are you testing while testing a test framework? Well, that's actually a little bit tricky. So I actually use Pass to test Pass itself. And typically what I do have, that's a great question, by the way. So, I do have some kind of easy tests. Let's say, for example, if I go to the expectation API, something like to be array or something like that, it's kind of easy to test, So for example, on each expectation, something I always do is test that the expectation passes if the expectation failures, and if the expectation failures with custom messages inside. So for example, here I expect this thing to be an array, I expect this thing not to be an array, and I expect, for example, no to be an array to actually fail. So, when I'm talking about expectations, it's kind of easy to test PassPHP itself, but I do use something really interesting, especially for output, which is, if I'm not mistaken, this visual testing, let's say. So basically, I have this success snapshot, which basically reruns PassPHP twice to see if the output of the first one is equal to the second one. You know what I mean? Which is, kind of probably hard to understand, but what am I doing is each time I run the test suite, I check if the output is exactly the same. You know what I mean? So that gives me some confidence, and it's what I like to call the integration test suite, which effectively runs a test suite twice. So we have integration testing, we have literally unit testing, and yeah, we are testing all of this stuff with PassPHP too. So that's what we do when you want, test your own testing framework, I guess. Najji Nizlav is asking, what's going on with PHP Insights? My pull request has been open for 11 months already. So I don't actually use PHP Insights anymore. It's a very successful project, have more than 5,000 GitHub stars, I think, but I don't actually use PHP Insights. PHP Insights on the early stage was developed to kind of, make some of the PHP tooling easy and give you some really good output on the console regarding, your PHP project, but I don't actually use PHP Insights anymore. So, if you're interested, you can literally help me maintaining it, but personally, I don't use it anymore. I apologize about that. Moe is asking me, I have 2 off-topic questions, so let's see the first one. What do you think about using validation through attributes by extending them so they will make function calls, condition check, I would love to understand your question, but I don't, I feel like. Yeah. All right, let's see the second one. Do you think aspect-oriented programming should not be used in Laravel? Is that against some principles? And I do not understand this question as well. Really apologize about that. All right, so that being said, we have two failures. Let's see what's happening here. Ooh, interesting. So actually both the failures is on the integration testing suite. Apparently, literally, our integration test does changes between runs. So let's try to, understand what's happening here. What can I do? What I usually do when this happens is literally just try to update the snapshots. Should I do that? Yeah, probably yes. Let's see what is the difference we have here. So this will literally update all the snapshots I have on this project, and I will be able to use, the GitHub UI or something to literally understand the difference between snapshots. Welcome everyone to the stream. We have literally, 75 viewers right now. If it's the first time watching me, my name is Nuno. I'm a PHP and a Laravel core team member, and I started stream literally 1 week ago. And it's mainly about PHP code. So if you enjoy, give me a follow on Twitch. I would really appreciate that. I'm also on YouTube streaming as well. So feel free to follow me there, to get notifications. Okay, what do we have? I just updated the snapshots, and now I'm going to open real quick my GitHub UI to understand the difference. And we have literally no difference. So why would my test suite failing? That's a good question. Let me run again this. Oh, I know why. I think to run the integration test suite, I literally need to run just past, basically, without the parallel stuff. That might be it, actually. Let's see. Josh is saying I leave for those streams. So, well, thank you. I really appreciate that you are enjoying it, huh? Really appreciate that you guys are enjoying the streams here. Ah. Transcode, happy Sunday, man. Lovely Sunday here, very sunny. It was just awesome day. I went for a walk. That was fun. So I'm going to explain you what happened. So now it is passing because I'm running a test suite in a different terminal. So basically I had literally, code coverage enable on the other terminal. Each time I want to enable code coverage, I actually run this thing called export xdebug debug coverage. So I'm running coverage with xdebug, and each time I want to run coverage, I do run this environment variable, So I have run this environment variable, which tweaked with the output of my past PHP snapshot. Anyways, now it's literally passing. So what we can do is just commit this. I'm going to use something. I don't know how many of you use, GitHub UI for this stuff, but I typically use the GitHub UI when I have a huge diff to check. But for this kind of stuff, I can literally just type git add-p, which will prompt me what changes do I want to actually commit. So one of them is, this changes on composer. So I'm going to just type, ypsilon to accept. And I also want to accept this one. I'm going to say yes to both. So once the diff is over, everything should be on my staged area right here. So what I can do is literally just type git commit-m and just say, this will be probably sure because it doesn't impact, any of the user's code. It's kind of an internal thing. So I can just type adds PHPUnit 11, and this would be 11.4.4 support. So I can just type this and then I can push it. Once this is done, to effectively have this available for everyone, I do have to tag a new version. And to do that, something I can do is just go to my past PHP file. And usually what I do is, first of all, be explicit about the version. So this will be past 3.5.2. And then I do need to recreate the snapshots. So what I will do here is type vendor past update snapshots. And this will be basically, you know, update the snapshots that answer stuff like dash dash version and things like that. I do understand that, you know, working on some framework like past, it can be insanely complicated for people of the outside to understand, but I do need to get this stuff done, so I may as well do it on a live stream, you know what I mean? And at least I have to, you know, I'm able to make you understand what exactly is to be a maintainer of a framework like past PHP. All right, so let's run past PHP, the entire test suite. Now with this new version, everything should just pass as expected. Okay, so now I can type git add-p. I do have this new version. These are the snapshots that are being updated. So what I can do now is do this and literally type release and then just give this given version, just like that. You know, push this, and now I can tag a new version. So if any of you actually have done, you know, just tagging a new open source project, something you can do, it's just literally just come here and type git tag -- list. This will give you, you know, all the previous versions. And what we can do now, we can see that the latest version was 3.5.1. So what I can do now is just type git tag v3.5.2, which is the new version, and type git push -- tags. So this will push the new tag, and now everyone will be able, you know, to fetch this new version. So that being said, the first part of the stream is actually done, which is this one. So I can just put an emoji, which is the check emoji one. Just like that. So this stuff is actually done, and we can now move to the second part of the stream, which is literally develop a new feature. So again, I'm trying to develop this -- coverage exactly at the value because I felt that at some point just specifying the minimum wasn't good enough. Okay, because again, in projects like Laravel Cloud, if you have someone pushing a new feature which increases test coverage, not the minimum, but the test coverage to 99.1%, and then you have someone right after doing a pull request that decreases, this will be decreases the test coverage to a lower value, nobody will actually see any of this because the minimum, both pull requests still respect the minimum. When in reality, this pull request, which increases the test coverage to 99.1%, should actually do something like this, so the next one won't decrease the actual value. So what we'll be doing today is something that looks like this, exactly at 99 point something. So if Joe will do a new feature that increases test coverage, this given test will fail because the test coverage does not match. So Joe will do something like this, and Nuno will obviously have his new feature test suite failing because it's effectively decreasing the test suite. So this is what we are going to do today. All right, so that being said, let's get started. The first thing I want to, to do is literally set up a scenario. I'm going to type vendor past tests playground and provide -- coverage with a minimum of 100%, for example. So it says to me that I do need to enable xdebug, so I'm going to type export xdebug mode equals coverage, clear my terminal and run again my test suite with -- coverage. minimum 100%. So obviously here we are running and only running the playground file. Therefore, the test coverage is literally close to nothing. And that's all right. This is enough to basically develop this feature. We just need to ensure that, we accept something like exactly it, and we do respect that value when we are running dash coverage. So what I will think I'm going to do is, first of all, go to the plugins folder we have on past PHP and check this coverage.php file. So within the past PHP documentation, we actually explain you how exactly you can develop a plugin for past PHP. Typically, plugins can, handle given arguments and then add output to the console. And this is exactly what the dash coverage plugin is doing for past PHP. Is handling arguments. So each time you provide something like dash coverage, we do enable the plugin. So you could see something like probably within this code something that should indeed understand if we have dash coverage. And if we have dash coverage enable, which should trigger this value true, we are going to check if we have a minimum option to kind of respect this value. So what I will do here, first of all, is make the font smaller because it's so big. You know what I mean? I cannot code like this. So I'm gonna go to my font stuff and I'm gonna address this by putting 25 to 20. This should be a little bit better, or probably 15. Are you guys okay with that? I hope you are. All right, there we go. And then I'm gonna try to understand what the heck is happening here, because it's been a while that I don't touch this code. But I feel that I can guide myself a little bit by the minimum option. So I'll probably start by putting something here that looks like this. Minimum option, this will be called, what was the name of the option? Exactly it. So this will probably be exactly at option. So by the way, what do you think personally of the dash coverage exactly at? Do you like the option exactly at? What do you guys feel about this? Do you feel that it should be called exactly at, or would you rather see another naming for this option? So basically the option is the result of the coverage needs to be exactly like the one provided. If it's more than that, my test suite will fail. If it's lower than that, my test suite will fail. So do you feel that exactly it kind of, means that? What do you guys think? Darius is saying, probably should just say exactly. So you guys think it should be this, right? Just exactly 99.1. I do agree with you all. Precisely. That would be too fancy, don't you think? Precisely. Oh my god. Precisely. Yeah, it could be fun. But let's use something. Let's use exactly. I like exactly. Precisely. That was a good one. All right, let's use exactly for now. So this will be called exactly. Okay. Exactly option, and we do need the value or a public property to actually store the given value if provided. So here I'm going to type exactly, and by default exactly will be 0.0. So we do have the option, we do have the default value of that option. What can we do now? Well, we can fetch or move the values out when provided. So here I'm going to just type self exactly option, and then what do we have here? Well, the coverage option does not require any value. However, the exactly does require a value. So here I'm going to just type inputs equal to new input option exactly value or exactly option, and the input option requires a value, because I mean, it does not make sense to actually provide just exactly. You do need to actually provide, a value for this. Michael Dorinda is saying, exactly is enough, I think. I am more curious as to why would you want to exact value. So, Michael, I'm gonna, explain a little bit what happened on Laravel Cloud, but also, this happened in the past for me. So I feel that some people will, face this problem potentially. Each time I'm working with coverage, let's say I run -- coverage, for example, on the past project, and the result I have is, let's say the result is something like, it's something like 80%, for example, or 80%.3, for example. Okay, so if you have something like new feature 1, and this new feature actually has a bunch of tests, the coverage will be probably something like, 80%.7, because effectively it does increases the value of the test coverage. However, since the beginning, the coverage minimum on the CI, it's something like looks like this. You know what I mean? So effectively, if the minimum value is not touched at all, this given test will still pass, because effectively 80.7% is bigger than the minimum value we have specified. What could happen here, and I have seen this happen on the past, is someone just comes with a new feature. Okay, so this will be the new feature 2, which kind of decreases the value that the first feature increased. So this goes from something like 80.7 to 80. Let's say 4. So this will still pass. So we will never know that this given feature 2 actually decreased the test coverage. So I hope now is a little bit more clear why I'm trying to solve this problem. Raisin is saying, could you reuse the coverage command and do -- coverage equals to 90? I could. However, I still feel that exactly and then provide the value, it still gives a better, verbose output for this. A verbose API for this, I feel like. That's my thinking. I like your way of thinking, though. It's a good idea overall, but I still feel that -- exactly gives me a better API for this, and potentially in the future we could do what you're saying. They are not mutually exclusive. I can literally do this now and then come back later to literally just accept the value on the coverage as well. MC West is saying, how about exactly greater than 90.2%? Well, that effectively would be the minimum, no? If you are accepting something that is greater than 90.2, that's effectively the minimum as well, I think. So I feel that exactly, and then simply receiving a float just works for now. Exactly. All right, so what can we do here? Let's just keep moving forward. So we now are accepting, an exactly option where the value is required. So let's keep moving forward and understanding what's happening here. I feel that I need to store the exactly value, which happens right here. So here I'm storing the minimum option, so I'm going to do the same. If someone is providing the exactly option, I'm going to actually, just receive that value and store that value on the float format on my property exactly. And I'm going to probably call this exactly something like coverage exactly. So it represents exactly what we have here on top. This should be coverage exactly, which is the float of that given value. So, on past PHP's plugin API, you literally have like the life cycle of handling arguments, and then you have the life cycle of adding an output. At the moment, we are on the cycle of handling the arguments. So the only thing we have to do is literally parse those values out from the console and store those values on this class, which will persist in memory, to later on we can actually, do something with these values. Michael Dorinda is saying, so regarding our discussion, like literally 3 minutes ago, is saying that makes sense, but exactly who'd still fail on this scenario? If it was 80.3% going to be 80.7 when adding features and tests, and down to 8.4, adding a feature but not tests would still be a failure? Well, Michael, let's go back into, the scenario where we had the feature. I'm going to actually save this output here on this stream.md file we have. There we go. So if we have Joe developing a feature which increases test suite a little bit, let's say this is like, exactly 99.0%. If we have Joe developing a feature which increases test suite, this feature will be never merged unless he actually changes this on the CI. You know what I mean? Because this feature will have a failing test suite because the current exactly does not match his current coverage. So in order to have this thing merge, Joe will need to basically come here and say, my current code did increase the exactly by 1 point. You know what I mean? So Nuno, when he's developing his feature, you know what I mean, will try to potentially do a pull request, which will do one of two things. It could fail because it's based already on the new one, or his pull request will effectively have a diff which reverts or, puts this value down to the new coverage. We will be spotted by the team. Dito PN is asking which editor I'm using. So I'm using PHP Storm, which is right here. So I'm using PHP Storm, which is, I'm a big fan of PHP Storm. I feel like is a great editor. I'm feeling productive with it. Sometimes I use Sublime Text when I want to quickly debug stuff. But what I'm using now is literally PHP Storm for pretty much everything. I know some people are fan of Vim, fan of Vim or VS Code. I'm currently, a big fan of PHP Storm and Sublime Text. I feel like I am very productive with this too, but I also understand that some people are just productive with this too as well, because, at the end, what matters is like, what are you actually using, So the same guy is asking if I'm using the Cursor IDE. I don't use the Cursor IDE. So basically I've tried a little bit and I felt that was just basically doing too much, trying to change too much code in my project, or the AI diffs will be just too big sometimes. So I feel like PHP Storm with just regular GitHub Copilot works good for me. All right, so again, we do have this handle arguments, and we also have this adds output, which runs on a different life cycle. It's kind of at the end of the test suite. So here is exactly where we should act and try to see if the report of the test coverage is exactly that value, not only if it's bigger than the minimum. So let's double check. Should actually be very quickly and easy. So it seems that here I have an integer already. So this is a float. So this thing right here is already the float of my code coverage report. So what I can do is literally the following. I'm going to write the following. The exit code should be the following. If oh my god, just love GitHub Copilot. So basically it's saying GitHub Copilot already is saying the following. Okay, if the guy provides a minimum, or if he doesn't provide the minimum, and the result of that operation with the -- minimum flag is, a successful exit code, let's double check what's happening with the coverage exactly. So the coverage exactly, this starts at 0.0, so we cannot actually use this way. We probably need to start with coverage exactly the null value, because the user may actually not provide a value to begin with. Yeah, this actually works good. So if the coverage exactly is different from null, meaning that the user actually provides a value, we do need to understand what will be the next exit code thanks to this. And on my understanding, the result of the coverage needs to be exactly the same as the coverage exactly. So I feel we can do something that looks like this. If the code coverage is exactly the one we are demanding, and with the exit code 0, if it is not, and with a 1, which effectively it's what GitHub compiling is suggesting. I just feel like this is a little bit more cleaner for readability. And finally, we do need to tweak a little bit this stuff. So what I will do here is the following. If we enter on this else condition, I'm going to literally just probably, let me think. I'm going to actually do the following. If we have an exactly coverage, I'm going to simply and only use that. Okay. Or not. Let me think a little bit. So if exit code is smaller, is actually zero. Yeah, I did need to do this. Yeah, if it's actually 0, then we do some output here. Yeah, exactly. Else we do elsewhere. Okay. Exactly. So let's recap here a little bit. So if we actually, pass the minimum coverage requested, either the default or the one the user actually is, requiring of, if we are good on that, and if we have a coverage exactly, we do run, all the coverage exactly code. Else, if we have exit code equals to 1, then we tell the user that the code coverage is below expected. So if the code exactly it's not the same, we give the following message: code coverage not exactly the one provided. This is awesome. This should actually just work. Okay, let's say exactly 80, for example. Ooh, this is working good. Okay, how about if I provide this? This is not working, and I do think I know why. Because the coverage value here, it's kind of, a very precise one. There we go. 3.2541, which is kind of a very precise value. We do need to, round some stuff here. Ramsey is saying, hello there, a small recap of the project, please. Yeah, some people actually, some of you actually know me from Twitter, but I do need to understand that this is Twitch, and sometimes people actually don't know me. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Nuno. I am a PHP and a Laravel developer, and I'm also the creator of a framework on PHP, call it Past PHP. So today I'm doing some open source duties. I'm actually, doing two duties. One is update the dependencies of the project, which is done, released already. The second one is actually adding a new feature for coverage, which allows me to be precise about the coverage I am expecting for. So regarding the project itself, I have to tell you, man, this is like a framework, kind of a big project to explain here real quick. What you need to know is within this framework, we have this concept of plugins, and I'm currently working on the coverage plugin, trying to fetch the values from the console and then put those values in place and fail my test suite if, the coverage is not exactly the same value as the result of the coverage. I hope this thing allows you to, better understand what PassPHP and this live stream is about. And some of you may just have arrived. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch. I'm trying to become big on Twitch, and I do need your help for that. And as well on YouTube, publishing daily videos on YouTube. If you'd like to, get that content every single day, hit that follow button. So you have, and also, subscribe if you want to have literally notifications every single day. Castle is saying the command line looks great. That exactly was precisely the right choice. I do agree, man. You guys give me a great idea. I feel like exactly it's something that I really feel it's a clear API for this. Okay. So we just noticed that the result of the report of the test coverage is literally something that looks a little bit complicated. So here we can have values like this one. You know what I mean? However, as you can imagine, the user won't provide something like exactly like this, So what I feel we can do is kind of round these values up, or round, the coverage report up, and then compare those things. So let's do the following. Let's go here when we are comparing. Let's do here something like comparable coverage. What is this floor? I don't know what this is doing, but I'm gonna hope and trust GitHub Copilot to tell me if this is actually something that makes sense. So now I'm gonna do use this comparable coverage to see, or to compute the exit code effectively. Let's do something like this. Let's go! We have a passing test suite. What happens if I do this? It is failing. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, I guess, Can you guys tell me if you feel this is correct? This floor multiplied by 10 and divided by 10? Let me just, do something that looks like this. If I DD, let's say the result is... Let me catch the result again and do some stuff here. Okay, so what is the comparable coverage here? Forgot to remove this DD. Interesting. Yeah, I kind of need to understand how many zeros do we have on the compare exactly. Okay. Let me ask ChatGPT. Compute the best comparable average based on the number of decimals of this exact coverage. What do we have now? Well, that doesn't help. I feel we can probably... Yeah, I feel we can probably just use one decimal stuff for this. So maybe here what I do is I do the exactly same thing on the expected coverage. So floor of this by 10, divided by 10. And here I can just do this. All right, this should just work. Here we go. And this is failing, this is failing, and this is passing. Yeah, PHP does have a round method indeed, but this seems to be working good, so I feel we can just use this. Ramsey, thank you, quite interesting. Yeah, thanks, I really appreciate you enjoying the stream today. Okay, so the good thing about open source is that sometimes you do stuff like this floor, which potentially, you know, this may actually have some problems, which I don't know yet. I don't know yet, but because everything is open source, literally if you have a better idea for this given code or how to solve this problem, you can literally, open a pull request and address the issue. And that will basically be, I'm open for that. Always open for learning and basically, for contributions as well. I'm a maintainer of multiple tools in the PHP ecosystem, past PHP, OpenAI for PHP as well. So all these tools that I'm developing, Larastan, Collision, Termwind, and etc. Like all these tools, all of them are open source. So if you are looking into getting started with open source, dude, just open a pull request on these, and I will do my best to review them soon. Okay. Okay, so this is passing as expected. What else can we do here? I don't think there is an effective way of actually testing this stuff, or will be quite hard to test this. But let me think. Do we have a test for this plugin? Let me double check. So I'm gonna go to my folder tests, and I see that I have a folder called plugins, which doesn't have a test for this. What else do we have? Let me search for coverage test or anything that looks like that. Yeah, we don't actually have anything. This is connected so deeply to, to the internals of PHPUnit in past, which is a little bit hard to test this stuff. So I probably will skip it, I think. However, it is working as expected, so I'm quite happy about that. So what I will do here is the following. I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna run the entire test suite, I feel like. I'm gonna run Pint here first, which should have, a successful styling test here, passing as expected. That ODPN is asking, what do I think about the E Framework 2? So I don't think people know about this, but I have actually started by my web developing career using both CodeIgniter and the E framework. So basically, when I was in Portugal, I did my master, and my master used actually PHP code, and that was developed using the E framework 1. Then, on my first job, I basically used CodeIgniter and the E framework 2. Which is funny, but after my first job, I have not used yet the E Framework 2. I felt it was a great framework, It's been like, probably 10 years since I have not looked at E2. I don't even know. I do think they are currently on the E version 3. But yeah, I don't even know anymore, so I cannot tell you what I do think about that project anymore because it's been so long time ago. This is just an int float. Okay, what else do we need here? This is working good, I feel like, so I can literally just provide or still provide something like, minimum of 3.1. This is passing. This should still pass as well. I can use something like exactly if I want to, and this should just work. Yeah, fantastic. So that being said, let's run the entire test suite. So I'm going to type bin passed and run the entire thing all together, and I should have a passing test suite. Yeah, if you guys have any questions regarding, the previous stream I have did on Laravel Labs and today's stream as well, just feel free to do it on the chat, just available. Tini is asking if past have 100% coverage. It's not possible to run coverage on the past framework because how deeply it's connected to itself. So basically, because we do use past itself to generate the coverage, it's actually not possible to use the coverage to test past PHP. So, okay, I do have a failure here. I think it's because the coverage is enabled, so I'm going to just go here and go to past and run again. Yeah. Yeah, I do understand that the floor is literally, you know, potentially it is error prone for problems. Let me see. If you're moving the comma really low. Oh, I do know what you mean. Yeah, this is probably an issue, right? You know what? Let's find a way of testing this in isolation. You know what? That's actually a good idea. So I'm going to do the following. I'm going to have here a private method, which is called compute comparable coverage. Okay. So I'm going to just say computes the comparable coverage to a percentage with 1 decimal. Yeah, I'm going to leave this like this, and let's actually add a test for this. So I'm going to copy this class name, and I'm going to go to tests, PHP actually plugins, create a new file with the name coverage. And I'm going to do the following. Test, what is the name of the method exactly? Compute comparable coverage. Compute comparable oh my god, give me a second here. There we go, compute comparable coverage, and I'm gonna create a new instance of the plugin. Singolata, welcome to the stream, man. All right, so what I will do here is, because I'm a little bit insecure about what exactly the floor thing is doing and how does it behave with different coverage values, what I will do is test that given method called compute coverageable coverage. I'm going to compute that and test that in isolation, okay? So I'm going to create a new instance of the plugin. And what I can do here is test this given method in isolation. It is private though, so I'll probably have to hook into this doing some magic here. I'm gonna do the following. I'm gonna do this. This is some magic. Don't tell anyone what I'm about to do, okay? There we go. So this allows me to basically call a private method. This is truly PHP magic, okay? So I'm gonna tell you, okay? So what we are doing here is literally trying to, you know, test this given private method in isolation. And if you want to access a private function, what you can do in PHP is the following. You literally just type this and then the private function inside, and you call this closure. You call this closure like this. You call this closure with a given instance, okay? This is purely instant magic. You don't tell this anyone. Yeah, what the fuck? I know. I'm gonna recap here because I don't feel people actually know about this. So in PHP, because, you know, it's not actually possible to call a private function. So if you want to actually test a private function, what you can do is literally do something like this. You call a short closure that looks like this, and then you call the method name, which is compute comparable coverage. You provide the value, for example, and then you call that closure with an instance. This actually allows you to do this, okay? So here, if I DD this, and if I run only this test, let's see what is the result. Yeah, 0.5. So as you can see, we can call private methods just like that. Kind of easy. I know, it's a little bit what the fuck. So don't tell anyone and don't use this at home. It is black magic, but don't use this. Oh my god, dudes. I'm doing a stream about like open source and about tagging new releases and maintaining a testing framework. And now this stream will be known by how Nuno teach black magic to the viewers. Hilarious. All right, dudes, don't tell this anyone and don't use this at home, okay? You need to promise me that. Anyways, let's test this. Leak the VOD, FBI is coming for real. Let's test this stuff with, data set in PHP. So something you can do. So, I want to test this given method in isolation, but I want to test it with different values. You know what I mean? With different values. So let's actually test this with different values. So we can do here something like, possibly something like this, value A, and this will be the value B. Actually, I'm going to just use one value. I don't think we need two values, right? And I'm gonna test this with a data set. So PHP allows you to basically rerun the same test multiple times using different information. So the first information I expect to give is something that looks like 33.51, for example. The second one is 100%, for example. The second one is 0%. I'm actually put this in order. This will be, for example, 0.5. This will be 1. 33.51, 33.51111, and 100%. Do you guys feel this is good enough in terms of, values we are going to test this against for? I feel this is good enough. So then we fetch that value. This test will run multiple times, exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we receive this value right here, and we get this value, and we put this value on the function itself. So I do need to kind of also put my expectation. So I expect the 0 to actually be 0, the 0.5 to actually be 0.5, the 1 to actually be 0.1 as well, the 32.61 to be actually 32.5, if I'm not mistaken. Undeniably, we could probably go one decimal house after this, but I don't know. So this is expected to be 32.5 as well. And let's actually do this as well with, a bigger number like 7, for example. And 100 to be actually 100. Yeah, Raisin is saying, Nuno, make the value with an absurd amount of decimals too. So this is exactly what this thing is, like an absurd amount of decimals. We can put more if you want, something like this. Okay, so this should exactly, test the scenario we were working on. Okay, so this is the given value. And this is the expected value. So this is the given value, and I do expect the comparable coverage to be the expected value. Let's see how it goes, okay? Oops, I do need to use the only thing. Okay, we have 6 scenarios passing. So out of these 7 tests, only one of them is failing, which is already a good thing. The one failing says that expected 32.1 to be identical to 32.5. So apparently this is the problem we are having, which undeniably he is right. And now we have a passing test suite. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys think this makes sense or not? What do you guys think? Undeniable here. Here I'm wondering if we should round up instead. But it's a difficult one. Tene is saying, now the only thing I only think about black magic. Dude, I should do a live stream just about black magic. And I do know a few of them, you know, oh my god, there is so much, like debugs, backtrace. There is so many like little functions that they do so many magic that I probably should just do a live stream about black magic. Let's do that sometime, you know, maybe Monday or during the week. But there is a couple of functions we use, especially as a framework developers, like magic functions, you know, like for example, when you're working with classes, that is stuff that nobody knows, like, you know, what functions like wake up do, for example. There is a wake up on PHP, and nobody knows about this, but there is a wake up that is, you know, you probably know this ones, right? The call and, you know, the get as well. But there is a wake up as well. There is so many little functions like debug info, you know, destruct, like on projects like Volt and past PHP, we use destruct a lot. Yeah, unserialize as well when things are coming out of serialization. There's so many little methods that exist on PHP that typically on regular level applications people don't use. But yeah, I can maybe someday do a live stream just about those methods. Because I mean, as a framework developer, you know, I do work with some of them. So I just have to, you know what I mean? Okay guys, I'm confident about this stuff now because literally we're writing tests for it. So I feel like we can now, with confidence, also use this comparable, the compute comparable method thing. So we can use that literally right here to compute the coverage, but also on our coverage exactly. So here I'm going to type comparable coverage exactly. And I'm going to call as well the method we just tested it, you know. So then I can use that given variable right here. So if the comparable coverage is different from or is equal to the comparable coverage exactly, then we exit with the exit code 0, which effectively makes a test suite pass. If we exit with a 1, that makes a test suite fail. Therefore, we do present to the user that things do not match. So MCOS is saying, how about numbers less than 0 or greater than 100? So less than 0, it's not possible because literally the coverage report will never present you with a value less than 0 or with a value bigger than 100. So we are literally chilling on that. It does raise the question. It does raise the question. No, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Raisin NNTV is saying, actually, I think the decimals are irrelevant and maybe making it int would be more clean way of displaying it. It's relevant if 35.3 or 35.7. I think 35 is the most important part in my opinion. Well, to be honest, you know, on Laravel Cloud, we did face some, you know, some code coverage going from 98.7 to 98.6. So I kind of need to be explicit at least about the first decimal point. Internal Constellation is saying many reasons to use strict types. Yeah, I do use strict types on my projects, including past PHP is using strict types fully. All right, so we do have a passing test suite, hopefully. I do need to update the snapshots now, though. Let's do that. So this is, you know, running past update all the snapshots. Let me just double check if I don't have the X mode enabled. Yeah, there we go. So let's update the snapshots now to see how it goes. And thank you so much for being on this live with me, you know. Like, my live streams won't be always about, you know, teachings and cool stuff, because literally sometimes I do have work to do like this stuff right here. You know what I mean? So sometimes we do, do live streams about my daily work, like the regular normal stuff that I have to do every single day. And working on past PHP is something that I have to do at least twice, 3 times per week, basically, to keep, the dependencies up to date, to develop features that I find during the week. So, I kind of have to, and I feel like it's better just stream this stuff that don't stream it at all. And during the live stream, you probably will learn one thing or two. So I feel like, it's just benefits for everyone. Let me double check what's happening with the snapshots deal. Yeah. Don't really know why it's failing though. 1 second here. What happens if I do this? How about now? Duca10 is saying that is a nice way of saying we will be having some Laravel cloud leaks. Well, I don't feel like I can exactly, just be live and talk about Laravel cloud, at least, about the internal code, but I can definitely do some live streams just navigating on the platform. Laravel Cloud eventually will become public, and some people are already using it. We have seen some screenshots on the internet already, so I feel like I can potentially work and talk with the team about making just live streams, navigating on a Laravel Cloud platform on a very informal way. That probably will be a thing, to be honest. Okay. Why the hell Parallel is failing, man? I have literally no idea. 1 second here. No, well, if you're asking if Laravel Cloud will be open source, no, it won't be open source. It's literally a product within Laravel, so... Dito Dopian is asking Linux or Mac OS for programming. So I literally use Mac for everything, including programming. And, I've been using Mac OS and Macintosh since my early career. Even in college, I have used Mac OS. So since then, I actually have never tried anything else. I remember on my early days as a student, I actually used Arch Linux, So a small computer with Arch Linux, I couldn't have anything else running on that laptop. So, but then I buy the MacBook and I'm super happy with it. It's just stable and I'm able to do everything on it, even playing video games. So. Yeah, I was using Arch Linux, but I felt that was constantly fighting with problems on Arch Linux, because Arch Linux is kind of a low-level operating system where you need to configure literally everything, your sound, your microphone, your drivers for literally everything. So Mac OS, Arch Linux was pretty much the only thing that ran on my laptop at the time, which was a very cheap laptop. Well, my current laptop is literally an M1 with 16 gigabytes, and I'm still happy with it, I feel like overall, I will want to buy a new laptop probably in the next couple of months, because I'm literally streaming and having PHP Storm open as well, and probably gaming sometimes, some heavy games. So probably will buy, M3 potentially, or the newest one, which I think is the M3. I don't even know. All right, so anyways, this feature is literally done. I do need to understand why my test suite is failing, which I don't necessarily get, because I'm running update snapshots, and this should literally just having a passing test suite. It doesn't, and I don't know why. Oh, now I know why. So basically, I also keep a snapshot of the number of tests we have, and so I need to copy paste the output of that and just store it on a visual snapshot I have on my test suite. So I'm going to copy this, and I have this hard-coded visual snapshot of the number of tests which I keep for myself. And I do need to update the number of tests because now we do have a couple of tests that were added to test the compute comparable result. So I should have a passing test suite now again. Yeah. There we go. It's just passing as expected. So we should be able now, once all these tests are passing, to actually, push this code and do a new release as well. So let's do that. Almost. So one test is failing, which I don't know why. I'm going to run update snapshots again to see. Yeah, for those who just arrived and you don't know me, my name is Nuno. I'm a PHP Laravel programmer. Currently on this live stream, I'm working on my own testing framework. Call it PHP. It's actually a very popular testing framework at the moment, which goes very out of the way I was thinking initially. When I first developed this testing framework, I had no idea how big it would become, and just happy that now, people sometimes, not sometimes, this project literally have millions of downloads at the moment. So just happy of the way it turned out. People actually use PHP, so just happy about that. What the heck is happening here? Eternal Constellation is asking me how far I have moved it from PHPUnit. So the only thing I use from PHPUnit is kind of the core, the very core of it, and the event system. Kind of hard to explain, but when you work with PHPUnit, let me just go here. Oh, we do have finally a passing test suite, which is cool. So when you work with PHPUnit, so if I go here into my, let's say, I do have this stream.md. So PHPUnit has basically multiple things. Have like the core of it, which is kind of, where they have their own testing classes and things like that. But they also have the event system, which is basically the way they use to communicate everything that happens within the core of PHPUnit. And PathPHP kind of hooks into this PHPUnit event system to literally have its own behavior, you know what I mean? So it is literally through this event system that we have more tests, where we capture the output of those tests. We add more features as well, like the expectation API, or even, add plugins like the coverage one. So we have a pretty big code base at the moment, just on things that are added on top of the core of PHPUnit. Duka10 is asking me how many time did I took to release the first version of PASS. So a few people know about this, but actually, So actually I have developed like the version 0.0.1 literally on the fly back from Newark, from Laracon US in Newark, So literally on the flight back from that conference, I have coded a very little POC that I was using constantly everywhere, And, that proof of concept was being used in all my projects, And literally I just thought at some point, like I was using that on my products, on my open source. And at some point I just thought, like, if I'm using this everywhere, probably a lot of people will just want to use this as well. So during COVID, actually on the very first 2 months of COVID, I have developed the 0.1 version, which is, you know, quite stable already. And I did a website as well. And I publish it as an open source project literally one day after, because I think I reached 75 sponsors, which is something I was asking for to make it fully open source. So here it was sponsor aware basically for one day, but then it went literally open source for after 24 hours or something, because I reached 75 sponsors on GitHub. So we went open source and it grew up a little bit, you know. Then I released Past V2, and this had like the expectation API, and then Past 0.3, which had like already plugins and things like that. And finally Past V1 came out, and it just blew up because it was added to the documentation, to Laravel documentation, to the starter kit. And yeah, literally like everyone is using it. At least in the Laravel community, I feel like we probably have like 60% of the community that opts for Past PHP, and 40% of the community who goes still for PHPUnit. And I think these numbers are fine, you know what I mean? At the same time, there is also the PHP brother community, like literally like the entire community. And I feel like it's not like this yet. Probably Past PHP is like on the 20s and this on the 80% or something. When you go to communities like Symfony, for example, or, you know, Drupal, etc. Yeah. All right, dudes, I do need to finish this. I have literally no idea why my test suite is failing, though. Let's try to understand why. So it's saying that the contents of the snapshot do not match the one. Did I already do that? I think I did, right? 1 second here. Eternal Constellation is saying, I've been stuck with PHPUnit, but personally I've been thinking maybe to try Past. Yeah, man, give it a try and let me know what you think. You know, there is a lot of people who have tried Past PHP and they absolutely love it. So maybe we'll be one of them in the future. We never know, okay? Oops. Why the hell this is failing, man? I have literally no idea, man. I will have to compare the snapshot, potentially, I think. Oh, wait a second. Dito Dopian is asking, for production is better PHP and Docker? Well, Dockerized production containers are literally, in my opinion, the only way of shipping safest PHP to production. But, you know, sometimes for different, you know, when some project is literally, you know, something that it doesn't rely too much on the environment, you can probably don't use it. Like, for example, I know Laravel Forge doesn't use Dockerized, production containers, and it's fine, you know, it works most of the times. But sometimes if you rely too much on the environment, like, you know, extensions and things like that, you probably would like to Dockerize some of that as well. Looks like I will have to check the snapshots one by one, literally. Okay, so if I run this with... What do I have here? No, I'm not listening Spotify. I'm listening literally the playlist that comes with Streamlabs. Yeah, shipping PHP to production, it is easy. But yeah, I mean, you know, things have evolved a little bit, so you might want to be careful about that, yeah. There we go. Not really know why the snapshots have 33 skipped here. Interesting. How about now, my friend? Are you back to passing? Let's see. I don't even know what is Laradoc. What is Laradoc, dude? Hi Guru, welcome, and thanks for the following on Twitch. Oh, I see. Laravel seems similar to Laravel Sail, right? Yeah, Laravel Sail is cool, you know. I'm personally, you know, still using Valve locally for local development, but yeah, I can see the value definitely on something like, you know, something like Laradoc. I will need to try something here. 1 second, folks. Yeah, I will be back sharing the screen in a second. Apologize about that. Okay. I'm wondering if now I'm literally running the tests on my regular iTerm 2 because I feel the ANSI mode on PHP Storm is literally, you know, causing troubles with my integration test suite. So that's why I'm literally running the tests now on my terminal here on the left and have a passing test suite, hopefully, which I hopefully do.
Yeah. That takeoff right here, man. Aviator 101. You know what I mean? Flight school, son. What up, Black? What up, P? Yeah.
Drills is asking me, are you from Portugal? Yes, I am. I'm Portuguese and I do live in Portugal. And prior to that, though, I was literally living in Paris, France, but now I'm back to Portugal. And happy about that, by the way. Okay, I'm literally going into verbose mode here to understand what's happening with snapshot testing here, which I have literally no idea. Which version of PHP I'm using? PHP 8.3, okay. Okay, you guys will have to forgive me for a bit because I do need to run my, you know, I have literally put the test suite running on my very little small terminal so I can compare, you know, the output on this thing. Otherwise, I have no idea how could I solve this.
team's in a position to make the world stand and listen while we shine and glisten. From morning, noon, to late night, you dealing with the hate right. Petty jealousy of
Rinivaro is saying, Lisboa is amazing. I went to a wine tour there. And I do agree with that. I do agree. Lisboa is definitely an amazing city.
I'm looking down at satellites and keeping game hella tight while I'm reaching new heights. Watch me.
Watching the night.
Lovely day in the city and I'm coasting. I get another chance to get my soul cleansed. Catching inspiration from the scene and it seems that hope would decipher my dreams. You see, my sixth sense is so clean. Hoping that the listeners can grasp what I mean. But never worry cause the real always tend to see my rhymes as if my voice is a can do. Close your eyes, embrace the high. Bring out the truth in the world of the lies. An extension of myself I provide for you. A clear mind so I tend to have the finest view. No better feeling than knowing that you're alive. Every morning I rise and witness the world revive. Above negativity and hatred, face it. Cast me soaring up on my spaceship. Watch me, watch me.
I have literally no idea about what's going on. For some reason, the test suite is literally giving me incomplete results all the time. It's kind of hard to understand why. Okay. Ducatan is saying, or is asking, what does it take to get a job at Laravel? At Laravel? Dude, it just takes to apply for it, I guess, you know? I do think we still have, you know, some positions open. On the Laravel website, just go to laravel.com/careers, and there is literally, you know, positions open, and you just have to apply, you know? And maybe you get selected. We never know. If you don't try, you don't know. You know what I mean? When Taylor first, you know, tweeted about he was looking for someone to work at Laravel, I also applied thinking that I would never be selected, you know, and I got selected. So I guess you just have to apply for it, and you know, maybe it works. João Vitor, thanks for the following. Okay, guys, I will probably have to find out this stuff after. Anyways, the feature is literally complete, meaning that we managed to do both of the goals of the stream. The first one was having our dependencies up to date. So that's literally done. We are now using, if we go to our console and we type something like composer outdated, we literally have only have PHP stan, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. So the PHP stan is the only depends we use on past PHP that we are not using yet, the latest version, which is a good thing. So that's, I feel we did manage to accomplish that goal. So dependencies with chilling. And don't forget, on your Laravel projects, you can literally just go there and type composer outdated to really understand how many dependencies you have outdated in your project, which is a very cool thing. Second goal of the stream, develop a feature. And that feature was this dash coverage with exactly option to pretty much specify how many coverage does your project actually obeys to. And we managed to actually do this as well. So this, once I fixed my integration test suite will be tagged and will be available on past PHP 3, which you can start using today. And yeah, if you are a fan of coverage already, and if you are using dash coverage dash minimum already, you might want to change the dash minimum to dash exactly, so you can be precise about the number of you are obeying to regarding the coverage. So this is done as well, and it will be tagged as soon as I fix the integration test suite. We do have some time now for Q&A. So if you guys have any question, now is the moment, while we are chilling and having fun with this lovely music. Why GitHub Copilot is doing this? Don't. Internal Constellation is saying, I tried many times, but never got any offer.
Baby, it's on site, it's a go. She gave me just so indecisive, don't know if it's right, baby. But I like it, but show. Bring it back for the one time. Shawty right, got the spice with my type, baby. It's on site, it's a go. But still I wonder, are you right for the love of my life, baby? No, I might never no. Yeah, I'm on the jack, shawty, and a little weed. I'm on the back, shawty, this feel like it'll lead.
Yeah, he one wasn't that bad though, just You can't compare really He1 with the current recent frameworks or modern frameworks, Just like you cannot compare Laravel 3 with Laravel 11 or Laravel, the latest versions of Laravel. So those are frameworks who were working very good at that time, but now they are literally, just outdated. I feel it's normal, right? I don't think I have ever tried Cake PHP. I know they have still conferences and they are, going strong, but I don't actually ever used Cake PHP because we'll be probably a little bit like the other frameworks we may find in the space, in the PHP space. So I have never tried Cake PHP. I've heard good things about that though. Yeah, man. If you talk Eternal Constellation, if he's still talking about the He framework 1, I can't remember if it has namespaces or not. I mean, depending of when it was released, right? Because I remember namespaces were introduced on PHP 5.3. So if E framework came before that, there is a likelihood that it doesn't have any namespacing, E2 does have namespacing though, so. Okay, finally got this test suite fixed, Jesus Christ. So what we can do now is the following. We can commit feat add option dash exactly to coverage. Okay, so we can push this. This will go to the repository. And now we can also do the following. We can go to our past file and tag the 3.6.0, and this will, release the version 3.6.0. There we go. And we can also tag this as well. Yep. And it should be available to everyone now. If you guys want to test it out, you can already do it. You know, just type in your project something that looks like this: composer, update, past PHP, /past. This will basically pull past 3.6.0, and you can already launch something like vendor, bin, past, with an option exactly to literally, you know, have this in your CI. Just by the way, don't forget, in our previous live stream, I've showed you how can you have something that looks like test coverage as a script in your composer scripts. So your composer is a JSON file, and on that JSON file, you can have something like scripts, and on those scripts, you can have literally test coverage. And then on the console, the only thing you have to do is type test coverage, or if you have a global one, like simply test, which includes many different tests, including the test coverage one, you can simply type composer test to run the entire test suite. Yesterday we have talked about this on our live stream, and do not forget that this is something you can do. So literally with this exactly option, the only thing you have to do now is ensure you update this value on every single pull request. So if there is a pull request which increases this, you know, the person will have to come here and literally just put a value hub to have the test suite passing, which is a good thing to have. Internal Constellation is saying, looks great. That's cool, man. I'm also happy about today's live stream and how we managed to actually, you know, code the feature like I would do if I was alone. So just happy that I was able to do this on stream, you know, with you all. So feels better now. Dukachen is asking if does that release create a tag automatically? So no. So when I do something like git commit release and then, you know, the version, this does not actually create a tag. What does create the tag is when I do this. When I type git tag with the version and then I do git push dash tags. Okay? So this one literally is just pushing the, you know, the changes that I have actually made on this file right here. And then the git tag actually creates a new git tag, and the push actually pushes that new tag. Composer automatically will react into this and update packages. Okay? Sandcastle is saying bacana. Well, thank you. Bacana means cool, I feel like, in English, so. Yeah, Git theory, you know, I'm not an expert on Git, but I do know the basic stuff on Git, you know, like creating a new branch or you know, deleting a branch if you want to. So I do know the basics of Git, but I still, you know, sometimes to compare a big diff of the stuff I'm about to push. So if I do a small change like this, I do use something like git add-p to literally understand what I'm doing. However, if it's like a big diff with a lot of changes like this and this and this and this and that, the git-p becomes too small for this, you know? It can be a little bit hard to spot the differences. So when that happens, I do refer to I do, you know, go to the GitHub UI app. And yeah, you know, with Git you can do stuff like reset, you know, you can reset this little change I just have done like this, and this will fall back to the beginning. So you can do a lot of things from the CLI, you know, but sometimes I do use the UI if I have to. That's perfectly fine. If you use the UI for Git, Well, first of all, it's already a cool thing that you are using Git to begin with. I do know people who don't use Git, for example, which is scary. So if you're using Git, that's a cool thing already. And when you find time, just try to learn a little bit from the CLI as well, because you might find yourself with the need, to know those things from the CLI because you're working on a deployment script, for example, or things like that. Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Today's live stream was a little bit different from the previous one, which was more in depth into the things I do on Laravel. Today I did have to do some open source work, so I just thought it was better to stream this stuff than don't do a stream at all. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream and you find the stream relaxing, and fun in the same way I found as well. That being said, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I will see you very soon. Thank you so much and see you all next time.